welcome to the Mommy Mundo podcast. I'm Janice Villanueva, founder of Mommy Mundo, the most active multi-platform resource and community for moms in the Philippines. So this podcast is another way for us to reach you, our fellow mamas, share information and stories about parenting, and another way for us to help and inspire and empower each other. We at Mommy Mundo are mom's number one fan, cheerleader, and motivator. Thus, the title of this podcast, You the Mom. We cheer you on, mamas. So, this week's theme is Mythbusters. And thank you for joining us again on You the Mom. So, whether it be because of passed on traditions, cultural or social programming, or maybe even conspiracy theories or outdated philosophies um, and practices, we must admit there are a lot of myths that are still in our systems, myths that we still believe to be true. And thus, we thought of this theme so that we can come out of listening to this podcast after an hour a more woke human being. So, today our guests are my wellness sisters. So, you've seen them before. You probably know them already by now, but I'd like to introduce them to you one by one because today we're going to be spilling some big revelations and cause major realizations when it comes to mental health, wellness, even mom life and parenting, of course. Okay, so our first guest is a story bringer. She loves to write and guides others to their own stories as a path to healing. She's an advocate of gratitude and the power of vulnerability. She's also a certified strength strategist, a certified racing frequencies teacher, a directive counseling practitioner, and a Heartworks healing coach. And so let's all welcome Leah Eriguel. Hi,
Hi,
Leah.
everyone. Hi, Janice.
Hello
I'm so
again to you, the mom.
excited for this.
Me
Yay.
too. So, of course, we have to welcome our two other sisters. Who's the ate ba here? No, let's not go there. So, our second sister is a somatic coach. She has been a bodywork teacher for 26 years and a yoga and movement teacher for 15 years. She applies a bottom up approach in her coaching, sprinkled with individual strengths. And she is, of course, a mama to the three daughters and wife to her partner in fun, to Marty.
Hello,
Let's all
hello.
welcome Kate Moynihan-Gonzales.
Thank you
Hi,
for having
Kate.
me back. What
Of
fun.
course. Thanks for coming for being here again on You the Mom. And our fourth Fab Four Mama. We haven't said that. Our Fab Four Mamas
Mhm.
is, of course, Mommy Mundo's Community Program Director. And she's also the founder of Camp Explore for kids, teens, and families, and Sea Explore for corporate programs. She's a conscious alchemy strengths coach, alchemizing all her certifications in her parenting and executive coaching practice. She's the first Filipino coach in the Philippines certified with Dr. Shefali's Coaching Institute on the Conscious Parenting Method and a certified facilitator of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, a Gallup Strengths Coach, and certified Strength Strategy Coach and Facilitator. So, of course, let's welcome Kit Malvar-Llamas. Hi, Kit. So, we are the Fab Four Mamas. Hello again, everyone. So, today we have a very packed episode because my sisters here, of course, have very specific specializations. There are commonalities, but very specific specializations. And so we have a lot of myths to bust, right, girls?
Yes.
So just to give you an insider look or an insider idea of what we've done, I actually asked them to list down myths that they'd like to bust. And there were so many. I think initially you sent me maybe 10 to 12 myths each. And then knowing how we talk and have fun in our conversations, we obviously don't have that much time. So we're going to be busting 3 myths each during this next hour or so. Okay, are you excited?
Yeah.
Very.
Okay. So let's get to it. We're going to first bust a myth on parenting. Okay. So that's under, of course, the expertise of our conscious parenting coach, Kit Malvar.
Yeah.
And one myth that really caught my eye in your list was this statement of good parents being naturals. So
Mm.
good parents are naturals, meaning good parents come without any effort. Is that what it means? Or good parents, um, we are all naturals at parenting without having to learn.
We always hear that, diba? Parang when you're a parent,
Yeah,
you feel like you're natural as a parent already. But it's interesting because kids go to school to learn how to be, students. But there's really no like parenting school. We resist it because we think how we are raised is already the right way to raise our own children. So how the tendency is for us to raise our children the way we were raised. So we
right.
perform the parang what's and things that um what we think is right and wrong
Mm.
is based from our own upbringing and not from the fact that this child in front of us is really we still need to get to know them. We can't raise
Yeah,
them from the way we were raised because we're just transferring, diba, that our patterns to them.
yeah,
We just
right.
first know them and really know this child. We don't know who they are. So we're already thinking, assuming that we already know our children. And
Yeah,
creates a big gap already with that assumption.
yeah. So what we're trying to also say here is that being a conscious parent or being an effective parent
Yeah.
takes effort.
Yes,
It
it
takes consciousness. It takes
on
intentionality. So
awareness.
yeah, and actually, with each child, you also have to adjust. So
Yes. Like each
sometimes we
child is
have
so
to,
different, diba?
yeah, we have to get out of our natural um tendencies if the child is especially different from us. Di ba? Like
Yeah.
for example, we're shy and then our child is super outgoing.
Yeah.
We,
Then we think, what's wrong with it?
yeah.
Diba?
Yes, yes. In
Or
fact, we have to go out of our comfort zone
yes, or
to
fear
be able to
student
nurture them.
because we're not
Yeah.
used to that. It's not like uh, or we had an experience in our past when we were growing up. Uh,
Yes.
that we fear we don't we want to protect them, diba? Parang we want them to be they're too shy, I want them to have friends because they won't have friends. So you try to
Yeah.
change them and not see or fix them and not
Right.
wow, what's the strength of the child in front of me
Yeah.
different from other.
Yeah. So
So
even coming from good intentions on our part, but we don't realize that we're not really nurturing our child's natural strengths and capabilities like that. Huh?
yeah,
What's your
we
take on it, guys?
Um, it feels a lot like this is the way you parent, and the child should fit into that
yes,
instead of this is the child and how do we fit into the child.
yeah, how do we prepare the
Yeah.
way for them? The road is
Yeah.
not yet, there's no fixed road yet. We
So
really don't know.
it's
Yeah,
holding space, Kit.
yes, it's really
That's
holding.
I
true.
love this.
That's so nice.
What's fascinating, while Kit and Kate were talking, what came to me was like, for example, when you grow up and and your parents say, "Oh, you sing, you go up there, or you the table, you sing," diba? So parang, and I remember as a child, oh, you poem, and I remember thinking, God, this is terrible, but then you get older, you have children, your
Yeah,
relatives are there, and suddenly I found myself treating my children like dogs
see,
at a carnival. Oh, you dance Macarena, you dance, and it's like, oh my God, what happened to the me who promised herself,
yeah,
when I have kids, I'm not gonna do that. Why was I making my children perform? Who was it for?
yes,
You
yeah,
know?
Yes.
I love
That's
that.
true. I really love this because we realize how we've evolved, like from the time that we were we were parented, and then from the time that we had young children, and then now with what Kit is trying to teach with conscious parenting.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. Go, Kate.
I want to ask, I want to ask, when did you realize and how was it the realization that brought about the opening of your eyes and ears to that, right? So first
Mm.
let me ask it, and then second let me share how mine came about. Like,
Yeah.
so beautiful husband started saying something to the kids, and it just seemed so wrong, you know. I'm like, maling mali, parang ang sobrang mali. And his reply was, but that's what was done to me. And I
Mm.
turned out well, and
Yes.
my parents are
Yeah.
lovely. So what's so wrong with it?
Yes.
Right? And that
Right.
just turned a switch inside of me, and I was like, it's really not how it works.
Mm. Mhm.
Right? And so from then on, luckily, it just stayed on.
Yeah.
Right? There are days where you're tired and you're just like, can you just please shut up? And of course, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't work, right? So you
Yeah.
need to like find your center again and then be able to
Yeah.
listen to that child. But I'd like to hear from like the three of you, like
Oh,
what
that
was wrong?
statement yung we turned out well naman.
Yeah,
I hear that
all the
also.
time.
The time, and that's
Yeah.
why it's like it became a myth because if
Yeah.
were very like a successful parent, for example, diba? You
Yes.
have a very successful life. What's wrong with that? Why can't I do that to my child? Isn't that like
Mm.
proof that I already did that, diba? Parang pupunta ka pa lang, pabalik na ako, diba? Learn from my
I
mistakes.
love these lines, no?
Then again, I
Learn.
want to build on what Kit was saying. Kasi, di ba,
Yeah.
tayo, we were brought up, you do it right. There's a right way to do it.
Yeah.
The numero. Then you will be successful.
Yes.
However, now, especially in these challenging times, we need to step back and say, anong ibig sabihin ng successful?
Yes.
Pag
Yeah.
kumikita siya ng mabuti o may sarili siyang business o head siya ng kumpanya.
Yes.
Pero secretly at night, nagbubunot siya ng buhok kasi stressed siya. Diba? O, so
Yeah.
successful ba yon? Mayaman siya,
Yeah.
may pera siya.
Yeah.
Pero hindi siya masaya
Yeah.
sa sarili
That's true.
niya. So, what is
Yeah.
successful now?
I
Yeah.
think the natural part, the antidote to that is really just the openness. You
Yeah.
just really like be open that I don't know my child and enjoy the process.
Yeah.
I think
Of
that
getting to know.
Yes.
getting
Oh,
to
and
know
I want to share because you know
God.
what to answer Kate's question about, maybe I'm trying to think about when I kind of shifted a bit. No, it was a gradual process, but for me the major shift was when we started talking about raising millennials or the millennial generation, because that generation is really like starkly different from any other generation we know of.
Mm.
Remember, we would talk about Gen millennials and then Gen Z. So I really consciously went into thinking that our kids are different from us because of technology, basically. Like they're different in the way they process, different the way they get information and the way they relate to people. So if I'm going to, because my eldest Kobe's kind of borderline millennial Gen Z.
Mm. Mm.
So hopefully he got the good traits of each, but the good in quotation marks, guys. But there, you know what I mean? Like obviously we have to really evolve to be able to understand them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
because when we were programmed, diba, that when you're a parent,
Yeah.
like to be a parent is like the be all dapat for you to be complete.
Yeah.
You need to be a parent. Yeah.
Parent.
Yeah.
And then, diba, we're told, one day you're gonna be a good mom because you're so caring. You're so parang we were already programmed na, you know, being a
Yeah.
mom is going to be an easy job. It's gonna be natural. Malalaman mo na rin yan. But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
okay to accept that we are novice. Diba, parang we're learning. It's a
Yeah.
learning process. So
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
every day. So we need to be really kind and considerate. We don't know this is the first time we're
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I remember when my daughter, my first child was born. So, but diba, when you give birth here in Manila, you're given more than a week, and then your child is brought to you, so beautiful, so mabango, so wrapped,
Yeah.
right? And then you go home, and I started crying because I realized I don't know how to bathe.
yeah.
What if she breaks? And I was really, and then
Overwhelmed.
the belief that I'm supposed to know this,
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
and the belief that everyone I bet all the moms know how to bathe their
and
newborn babies, and like I
how
missed
about
out
the
I
And
missed
breastfeed.
part?
the
How about
breastfeeding
the
part,
Breastfeeding.
breastfeeding part?
like
Yeah,
Oh
when it
God!
hurts and you don't want to
Yeah.
acknowledge that it hurts
it
because
is
it's
hurt.
supposed to be
Diba?
a
Parang
beautiful,
less of a,
wonderful,
Yeah.
you're
diba?
less of a mom.
The pictures kasi, di ba, it looks natural.
Learning how to breastfeed was so much worse than giving birth.
Yeah. Oh, let's segue to the next myth then.
Okay.
That a good parent is a loving parent.
Ah, so that's
Ooh, that's even
another thing.
deeper.
Oh,
So when you're learning
That's
something,
a myth.
yeah, that's a myth. When you're learning something new, of course it's hard. Then your moods are gonna come in because you're
Yeah.
attachment with yourself. You're not gonna be a loving one when when your nipples are hurting. Ano ba?
it's cracked.
But you
Or
should
like,
love
if there's not enough milk, then you feel so kulang,
Yeah.
diba?
Yeah.
diba? Parang, oh my, I should do this.
Yeah.
I should be able to do this. And there's so many things so that comes up to
Lalo
you.
na pag terrible twos, how can you be loving all the time?
Yeah.
If they're
I
throwing
like that
tantrums and stuff.
age.
Ah!
I love that age.
Okay.
Yeah. And we
Terrible twos.
forget that. We forget that because we are told that as a parent, we should be always loving and
Loving.
always the caring one. And then we impose this to our children because good parents are natural.
Mm,
And then we think already, whatever I'm doing to my child, that's the intention is different from the behavior. Of course, we have the best intentions for our children. But if it's not attuned or aligned to their own temperament and their own growth process, you know, um, and they
yeah.
will feel it. Parang, I don't feel loved. But the child will not say that, diba? Parang, or
Yes.
sometimes he'll just think, I love you, but parang the child would say, but I don't feel it. You know,
Yeah.
feel
So I'm curious also, Kit, with all of these learnings. Yet, if you've had no sleep, right, and your nipples are chaffed,
yeah.
and
How can
I
you
mean you're
possibly?
a freaking mess.
Yep.
How are you supposed to be a good parent when
Yeah.
you
Oh, good.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So it again, it's gonna be accepting that parenting is not a natural thing. It's easy. It's not easy. It's gonna be hard. It's challenging.
Mm,
So
It's
yeah.
having
work.
that compassion for yourself will allow you now. This is part of my relationship with my child because you are actually relating to yourself first before you can relate well. Diba? Connecting with yourself first,
And
reading
Yeah.
yourself, and then so you can be attuned to your child. So self-care is so important.
yeah,
And
yeah. So
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also that it takes both parents, diba?
yeah,
It takes both parents because
Yes.
for the longest time, I think it's only really now that the dads are becoming hands-on. That
yeah,
True.
let the mom sleep.
Yeah, no, because before, diba, we were cookie cutter roles.
Yeah.
Man, work, bring home bacon, read
The
newspaper,
hunter and the gatherer.
diba? And then wife, stay home, bake cookies, be
yeah.
perfect, no
Oh
dirt
my
on
God.
floors.
Yeah. So when you're a loving parent, that's one of the things. Love and fear cannot be in the same sentence. So when we are relating to our child, when we're saying, I love my child, I'm doing this, the intention is there, but you are rationalizing it because I fear if I don't control them, or if I'm not, if I don't like be in control, then my kids will turn out to be, they don't follow the script. My kids will, fall off the curve, will fall behind the curve, and then they won't be successful. They won't lead happy lives. So I
And they
think
won't be good children.
that they will be good. So
Yeah. And that is our third myth.
what
Ang
love?
galing.
Yeah, so yeah. The third, it's
Yeah.
connected to the
So the
third.
third myth is that
There
there are good children and there are bad children. So, 'di ba may mga salbahe, tsaka bait-bait nitong anak kong ito, pero ito medyo salbahe siya.
Ah, I know that's a questions we ask. It comes out
Yeah.
really when we gather as a family, di ba? Sinong anak mo yung mabait? Sino
Yes.
feel? Di ba? Parang
Oo.
Goodness.
our children, and
Yeah.
then they hear it. They hear
Yes.
Ah.
They hear it.
The labels,
Yes.
the labels.
label,
Label.
di ba?
Yeah.
So now, then I'm labeled as the bad child. So, oh, I need to change myself so I can get mama's approval or dad's approval.
Yes.
So
Right.
don't, they start thinking there's something wrong with me. I don't I don't fit. But I want to be a good child.
Yeah.
So now to be a good child. And then if you hear pressure din yun. If you hear you're the good child,
Yeah.
then you want to be able
Yeah.
To keep at it.
to keep at it because you
Yeah.
don't want to fall off the grid. And then
Yes.
breed sibling rivalry.
Right.
Your children
Because
because
because you're being compared basically to each
Yeah,
other.
not just to each other,
Yeah.
but to cousins, diba?
Yeah.
I mean,
And
Right.
the age doesn't matter, no? Like because my eldest child is 9 years older than my second child, and
Mm.
at some point I compared. I said, I don't understand why you can't be more like this, right? That was
All
coming out
right.
of my mouth, and she just looked at me and she goes, "Why are you comparing us?" I go, "Because you're so much older."
yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
and she was so clear and saying it doesn't matter how old she is, mom. These are still my needs.
Yep. It
Yeah.
If you let people define what's a good child and what's a bad child. Diba? It always
Yeah.
falls down. The good child is the one who obeys me. So
or
That's
or or the
right.
one or the one who's your mini me.
yeah, your mini me. It's easy. Parang
Terrible.
It,
Or
it, it,
fulfilling all your dreams or your
it,
All your
dreams.
unfulfilled
your
dreams.
don't each child
child.
doesn't each child like tick those boxes in different ways?
Yeah. Well, there are more easier ones. Like you can relate to the person, to the child who's, I see my stubborn self in you, but it comes out like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So you,
Tenacity.
you tend to
Or
label
some parents
that.
feel flattered. Yung parang, oh, she's just as stubborn as
Oh, just like
me.
yeah.
Ganyan din
Love
ako
that.
dati.
I love that. I love that. The
So
tenacity.
funny.
Go, girls. Be heard.
So, you know,
Interesting.
shifting ourselves also from like looking at our children and seeing when are they defensive or are they defiant? Diba? Parang you're gonna ask.
Mm,
Wow,
But
I
they
don't
right.
know if I
are
like either one.
yeah, are they exerting who they really are and they're showing us, parang they're teaching us they're showing us this is who I am. But are they defensive already? Because you're they're learning they're showing us how to create boundaries and how to
Right.
because that's what we lack.
So
That's
when they're defensive, they're creating boundaries already. When
yeah,
they're
and they're
defiant,
teaching you. They're teaching us.
When they're
Yeah.
defiant, that means
That's
their
right.
needs haven't been met
Matt,
consistently,
how
right?
beautiful.
It's more of parang they're building a defense wall more
Yeah,
than
they're
boundary,
you
no?
can't
Like
this is actually what you need to grow, mom, from.
that's
You need
right.
to create healthy boundaries because
Can
with our children, because with your friends or with your boss or with your
Yeah.
partners in life, it's hard for us to create boundaries with our children. Paano we can control them? But this child who's defensive and defiant is teaching us, you know what? create your boundaries because I'm
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
You
so
know,
very
I have a connect story to the earlier one. My eldest,
Yeah.
my daughter. She's, she's the masunuring bata. She will sing, anak, sing.
Quote
Bitin ko
unquote.
yan.
Yeah. Always
But
saying
my
performer.
sing. But my son, when I said, "Oh, dance," and then he said, "Mama, that's not nice. That doesn't feel good. What if I made you go up the table and dance?" I was
Oh.
like, "Oh,
how
that's
old the
not
then
nice."
that makes you think how double
Really?
standards we are.
Yeah, and then I just realized, oh nga naman, he said, what if I made you go up the table and dance?
Oh, good job, Juba.
I know, right? So like, okay.
So it's
Cool.
when they are acting out, they're actually teaching us something that we need to awaken
It's
from
so interesting.
and to break, I am a different person. You also, mom, you need to start thinking. And then that's when we realize, oh, nga naman, parang,
Yeah.
where did I get this?
Yeah, and then you know exactly where, diba? Where that came from, that whole sing.
That's
Okay. So I
uh,
love it, Kit. I mean, with those three myths palang, we're like, okay, you can actually change your parenting in a major way if you just
ah,
realize that the myths that we're carrying. That's so interesting.
yep, yep.
Okay, so
Makes
cool. Thank you for that. First
enjoy
round palang.
of getting
Okay,
to
next, we're going to
Both,
we're
both,
going to
both some
bust
myths.
some myths about self-care and vulnerability.
Ooh,
Going to Leah now.
Hello. Okay.
Okay, the
Um.
first myth we want to bust is vulnerability is weakness.
Yes.
So
Okay.
first, let's define vulnerability.
Vulnerability is really the ability to be able to recognize your needs, your messy feelings, your authenticity and imperfection, and be able to communicate it to others and also to yourself and know that it's okay.
Yes.
So accept that, yeah, no one is perfect. Perfection is a myth. When
Yes.
you live with the perfect myth, then you will think that, oh, me feeling messy feelings is not right. I have to be put
Yes.
together all the time in the way that I look, in the
Yes.
things that I say.
Yeah.
And no one is that. No one is that 100%. So
Yeah.
that alone, telling yourself, I need to be always
Yes.
100% put together. Nothing about me can be messy. I'm only
Yeah.
going to say, oh, my wonderful family. Oh, my loving husband. Oh, my perfect children. That's the only thing I'm going to say on social media because that's who I'm supposed to be. That's a lot of
Yeah.
pressure. That's a lot of
And
pressure.
it makes
Yes.
everyone
Agree.
else feel awful.
yeah.
Yeah. So like even being vulnerable with your feelings, like for example, if you are having a conversation and the other person says something that you feel strongly about or you want to react to and you want to say something that's from deep within, like your honest feelings and stuff. So you have to be vulnerable to be able to voice it
You
out
need
because
to
it
have the
puts you in a
courage.
position,
Yes. You know what I
right?
realized
So
from the coaches that I've been
yeah,
working with, especially during the pandemic. Alam mo, ang sakit natin. I'll say tayong mga Pilipino because that's my
yeah,
experience, right?
yeah,
Ang lalim ng avoidance issues natin. Here's our
yeah.
family.
Non-confrontation
We
na.
have so many issues, but hey, if we don't bring it up, it doesn't exist,
Yes.
Yes.
right? As
And they
opposed
say that
to,
and connecting it to your myth, it's a weakness because people think if you do that, madrama ka or
yes. So
dami
so
mong
if you bring it,
issue,
you
'di
know, I
ba?
feel hurt.
Yeah.
I feel hurt
Yes.
by what you said, or I feel like
Yeah.
I'm not being understood.
You're
No,
making me feel, you're making me
diba?
feel like I'm not worth, whatever,
Or
whatever
I
reaction you
feel
have.
not worthy. We
Yeah.
don't have those conversations. Di na lang tayo mag-uusap as a family.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Pretend
Um,
everything's okay
Pretend
and
everything is
happy.
okay and it will be
Yeah.
okay. Oh my God, that is like the biggest myth. The
Yeah.
biggest
Yes.
myth. And then I have people saying, me and my family, we've never fought. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh boy. So some people are not sleeping very
Yeah.
well at night here.
So why is dealing with messy feelings or being open about messy feelings actually a strength?
It's a strength because when you say, oh, I'm feeling messy about this, where
Yeah.
is it coming from? And
Mm.
then you will know what you need. Because really,
Yeah.
living in this space is about feeling safe.
Yeah.
Right.
If you can't live with your messy feelings, how in the world can you feel safe? And
Yes.
here's a level up to that. If you don't know how to communicate your messy feelings, how on
Yeah.
earth are you going to teach it to your child?
That's
Mm.
Ripple
right.
effect.
So yeah, so
So
what's
it's
gonna
like
happen is,
imposter syndrome, 'di ba? Like you're pretending everything's okay. You're pretending that
yeah.
you're not facing the real issues that you have
Kasi nga,
within
di
and
ba,
all that. Then
yung
you're passing it down to your
hindi
child.
kami
Mm.
nag-aaway, perfect
Yeah.
kami. So the baliktad
Yeah.
of that is, when you talk about each other's feelings and then they're fighting. So that's not okay.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no.
When you reveal something that about feelings, kasi feelings are the messy ones, diba?
Yeah,
I think it's considered wag. It's people are gonna look at you as weak
weak.
or
Yeah,
drama.
Yeah.
Even at work,
Madrama, weak,
diba?
sensitive. Being
Leaders at
sensitive is
work
weak, 'di ba?
also, don't
Yeah.
tell them what
Yeah.
because you're gonna be seen as a weak person.
Yeah. So
so of
how do
course
we
there's
change this
also,
mind space? How do we change this perspective of being vulnerable is a strength? Because we kind of have to do that one person at a time, which is why we're having conversations like this.
yeah,
'Di ba? Because ultimately, there are people who will think that way. We just have to change mindsets by practicing it on our own
Are
and
we
talking
not
about vulnerability as a strength.
are we not seeing it already, the results of that in
Yeah.
families that are
yeah,
ill? I mean,
right.
Yeah.
let's go deep here where
Toxic.
mental health now, you know,
Mm-hmm.
your kids are suicidal, your kids are not okay. It
Yes.
doesn't
Yes.
necessarily even mean just kids. It can be the parent as well. I
Yeah,
mean,
That's right.
this is we're talking about feelings, so these are emotions, right? So emotions, these feelings get trapped in the body, right? Sama
right.
ng loob
That's
in
right.
Tagalog,
Sama ng loob, yes, and then it
right? And
gets
it
toxic.
gets taken away.
Kate, thank you for bringing it up. I think this is the right time maybe to share my experience with, because you mentioned that it could be the parent. And actually, the year or 2 years before I left for Canada, I actually had two daddy friends
Hmm.
who were opening up to me about mental health. Like they were suicidal, and their wives had no idea because nga they couldn't be vulnerable because nga the
Yeah,
stereotype in the Philippines is the dad, the father supposed to be strong, breadwinner, the anchor of the family and all that. So imagine going home every day and hiding all of that just
all
because
of that.
you
Yeah,
could
and
not be vulnerable.
Janice, I
So
want to
it really is
also,
important to bring it up.
yeah, I also
Yeah.
want to share, again, in my coaching teens who are considering self-harm. There's one
Yeah.
thing that is common in all of this. It's the self-judgment of
Yeah.
the children. They judge on themselves so much. They're not even sad. They're not even angry. They're just tired.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah.
So it's really, and that self-judgment obviously is learned behavior.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's learned behavior. So if there's anything, like if there's anything I want to say for today is, please,
That's true.
moms, learn to ease on yourselves,
Mm.
because the
Yeah.
more judgy you are about yourself, trust me, you are sending that out to your
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really true. Yeah, so connecting what you're saying now and what Kit's statement about
Yeah.
parents judging their kids in quotes, no? And then now judging ourselves, not being vulnerable to ourselves and not really facing our own feelings. It's all connected. Like if there's like a brewing storm in at home and in
Yeah,
your
because
minds and in
you're
your
the
hearts.
yeah, when the
Yeah.
parent is so in control because they
Yeah.
that's how they parang that's how they don't want to be vulnerable, so
Yes.
they go to control. The kids now will feel it and they'll feel so tired because now I have to like make mom also feel like good because I'm the one
Right.
who I want my mom to feel good. I want them to know. So you're pretending now, you're creating that persona now, the good child, so you can make mom feel good. That
Oh my
becomes get
yeah.
tired. You get so tired after a while because you're not authentic. You're playing, you're acting out. So in
Everyone's tired, no? I mean, like the
Everyone's,
perfect
yeah.
storm.
After
Everyone's exhausted.
anxiety,
Yeah. And
everything that
here's
comes with
here's another myth. I grew up believing my
yeah.
parents are right. If you're a parent, you're not wrong.
That's
That's
right.
that's what I grew up with. If you are a parent, you can do no wrong because parents are never wrong.
That's
However,
right.
no one is never ever not wrong.
Correct.
So when I make mistakes, there must be something wrong with me because my parents are never wrong. So
Mm,
what kind of beliefs do we want to raise our children with? One, mom is never wrong. So when I'm wrong, I do wrong, I'm the one that's wrong. Or
yeah.
do we raise our children to say, sorry, anak, I made a mistake.
Yeah. That's right. That's
And
vulnerability.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's vulnerability. And then your
Yeah.
child will not remember what you did wrong. Your child will remember what did you do after you became accountable for, I'm sorry, anak, that wasn't right. Yeah, I'm sorry, anak, I made you stand up on the table to dance. I'm not doing it again. So what did you just
Yeah.
teach your child? Parents can
Yeah.
own up to it, and it's
Yeah.
okay for me
Yeah, and
to
they
make
have a
mistakes.
voice.
I love
And
it.
they
I
have a
love that,
voice.
Leah. Thank you for that. Wow. That's just the first myth. My God, we can talk about vulnerability the whole evening, no, actually, but we'll save that again for another time. So, this next myth that we wanted to talk about is that the myth of that I need to have absolute control so that things
Mm.
work out right.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that comes with
Yeah.
you should not be vulnerable.
mm,
That comes with everything that comes with I'm a parent. I need to be
Yes.
do perfectly
Yes.
and everything. I have parents who I have moms who ask me in tears, I did everything right. Why did things
Mhm.
go wrong? What does everything right mean?
mm,
When you
Yeah.
don't give your child a voice because you think, okay, here's my plan for you. You follow it, you'll be fine.
mhm, mhm,
Who are you trying to satisfy? You
Yeah.
or the child? What if the child doesn't want to do that?
mhm.
Yeah.
And then your
And-
child grows up following.
Yeah. And also for our own sanity, I guess for moms and dads who the control comes from again good intentions. We want the best
Hmm.
for our family. We want everything planned out and perfect. And di ba, we plan 1 year ahead, 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead. So that's why when COVID happened, we're all like, oh my God, what is this? Right? So, and it really isn't a guarantee
It's
that
not
if you
okay.
plan and try to control everything.
As a recovering control freak,
Yes,
I
me too.
have I have come to realize that
Yeah.
the need for absolute control, we
Mhm.
say in our heads, this is so that everything turns out right. Truth is, it comes from our deep insecurities
And fear.
and fears.
Yeah.
Now, if I control this, then
Yes.
things will be okay.
Yeah,
That's right.
As
yeah,
opposed to when we say, when I make a mistake, and I will be able to get up from it, and
Hmm.
it will be okay. Is it? totally different is so freeing. It frees you, you stop having painful, tight shoulders.
Yeah. Carrying the burden of everything.
Carrying the burden of control, control, control. And
Yeah.
you teach your children to have a voice, to have
Yeah.
discarte.
Yeah.
Kasi when you
That's
control,
true.
your children will not have discarte.
Yes.
So what
And
happens
True.
if you keel over and you're gone today?
yeah. And
Yeah.
control is
Diba?
actually an indication that we're not living in the present moment.
Yeah.
Because
Mm.
when you were controlling, you either fear,
Project to the future.
yeah, diba? Parang you fear the past will happen to your child, your own, your own pains will happen to your own child. So you want to control and protect them.
Yes.
Or you
Yeah.
already go to future thinking that
Yeah.
so you hostage your present moment of bonding with the child in your now, right now. Who is this child in front of me? And who I am.
That's
So
right.
it just reminds you when we feel like we're getting into the control freak.
Yeah.
Why am I going to the past? Or
Yeah.
my past, or why am I already in the future? My child is
Yeah.
my child is only 10 years old. I'm already thinking, what college will they go?
Yeah.
Yeah, nako,
You
if
know,
they
I,
don't
I learned
study,
I learned recently that optimism and pessimism are both activities that are not mindful because you're
yeah,
projecting either the good that something good will happen or something bad will happen.
That will
So
yeah.
happen.
both good and bad is not
And
maybe.
the holding hands of control is worry.
Yeah.
When you need to be in control, you think worrying
Yeah.
helps. You're just draining your energy. You're creating terrible energy in your space and with your children.
Yeah.
And God
Yes.
knows why we think if I worry, things will be better. I actually asked this
That's
mom once.
right.
Let me know. Tell me please, like a 3-year-old, when you worry, what does it solve?
Yeah.
And then she naghang siya.
Yeah.
Buffering.
Oh,
With
addicted to the hormones. That's
Yeah,
what that is.
yeah,
coach
yeah.
when coaching also one time I was talking to a mom, and then she was just complaining that the child was so lazy, demotivated, always procrastinating. And then so all the shoulds they should be like this. Because why? Because it's pandemic, and if they don't, when the pandemic's done, then where are they? They won't eat, they're so behind. And like, who's behind?
Worry.
And then you ask
Mm.
if they don't change, if he doesn't change his ways, will you still love them? Of course. But then why can't you love them now? Why can't you love them now? Right? Like right now. Just show them how much you love them instead of worrying about the future. And then when they start saying because, okay, they're
Mhm.
rationalizing already
Yeah.
why they need to love their child now. No, because then it means they're on
Oh,
path of fear and not love. So because there's already they're already
ah,
they're not in the present.
I
yes,
love
yes.
how you're,
I love that.
there's this one, parang we're not aware of the things that we imprint on our children. Like how it's so
Mhm.
important for us to be payat, right? So when we
Yeah.
see our child medyo dumadami, then we start, oh my God, you're mataba, don't eat na, diet, whatever. And what are we?
I
What are
like the
we?
madami.
Right? Where
Tessa?
did that start? No, where did that come from? No.
Yeah, where did that come from?
So
And
so
and
much of
and
belief systems. Where did they come
yeah,
from? That they just pass down through generations.
Yeah.
Just
Like you said
Mhm.
earlier, Leah, about uh oh, dapat ganito, dapat ganyan ka, 'di ba? Na parang
Yeah.
kanina nag-umpisa 'yon, 'di ba?
don't
Pinakinggan lang kay
yeah, you
lolo
don't
mo.
even, diba? You don't even know, and then you don't know that you're doing it.
Like you
True.
said,
Diba?
get up and dance,
We
right?
we we are a nation. When we see each other, the first thing we say is, "Oh, taba mo na." I mean,
That's
that's we
true.
don't even that's even we don't even know that that is crossing boundaries. Like, what business is it of yours?
You know, and
Yeah.
it's expected, like
Yeah.
I saw one of my therapist's photos yesterday, and I said, oh, Ate Gina, ikaw na ba yan? Right? And she looked like she had some swelling, and she goes, oo, ako na to, ang laki ng tinaba ko. And what I saw was what's going on with her. There's inflammation. This last year must have been very hard for her. How are you? Right?
Mm,
In my eyes, in my heart, that's what I'm seeing.
yeah.
But
But
Tina,
yeah,
her
that was
report was
For
immediately,
parang
her.
oh,
inunahan na niya. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our, 'di ba? That's our hello.
Yeah.
Which means that's what we're also translating to our kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's go to our third myth about shame stories. Okay, so shame
Okay.
stories. Our shame stories are best kept as secrets. So everyone has shame stories that we should
Everyone,
keep
all
it
of
under
us,
wraps for our
yeah,
own safety. That's a
all of
myth.
us, yes,
Yeah.
that's a myth, because our shame stories are the ones that we need to conquer those. Okay.
Yeah.
We are not, my husband and I are not getting along. We're not going to tell anybody. My child has addiction. I'm not going to talk about it. My child is actually in rehab, but he's abroad on vacation.
Mm,
And my family is perfect, 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 perfect. The thing is, when by God's grace there is a challenge in your family and you are able to overcome, with love or with acceptance, why not share it to the world? Because your hell and back story could be the story that saves someone else,
mm,
right?
true.
Because it's tough. It's tough out there. And what value do you bring to the world by telling everybody
Yeah.
how wonderful and perfect your life is? What value do you give to the world by friggin' lying
yeah.
And for the sake of image. No?
for the
Be a
sake
truth,
of image?
Yeah.
be a truth
I
bringer.
mean, what is that? As opposed to, because when you share your shame stories, that means you overcame.
Yeah. Oh,
And what
you
is
know,
more important?
it's
That you
also like, for
share
example, yeah, go ahead.
your perfect, or that you share your
Yeah.
courage.
Yeah. So like in the same way, like for example, us parents, sometimes we shield our kids from our failures or the
Yeah.
hardships. Like they'll only
Yes.
see the fruits of, for example, successful at work, or we're happy on our happy days. Like we don't really tell them if we're going through something. Sometimes we
Yes.
think they're too young to understand, or we want to shield them.
Or
Not even imagine.
the truth is,
Yeah.
we as mothers, we want our children to like us. And we
Yeah.
think that by showing them we do no wrong, they will like us.
Yeah.
I mean, really, do you guys like women who are perfect? I don't.
I
Yeah.
can't
Number
stand
one, they're boring as hell.
Yeah.
Number two, they're lying to me. Number three, if they're not going to share their authenticity
Yeah.
to
right.
me,
It makes it difficult
Yeah.
for living an authentic life. It makes you feel bad. It makes you feel like, where did I go wrong? I'm a mess.
yeah, I don't.
You know,
Yeah,
even homes, homes like represent that so much, right? Certain people, you go to their homes, everything is spick and span.
Yeah.
Everything in a place for everything, and everything it's in its place. And I don't know. In our home, it's like I've got I've got everything everywhere.
Yeah. And that's
It's
the real deal, di ba? Right? That's the real home that's lived
yeah.
in.
So yeah, so what I'm saying is, it's a myth. It's a myth that we
Yeah.
all need to be perfect. We don't.
Yeah.
Please be nice to yourselves, because when you're nice and kind to yourselves, then you will be nice and kind to others. I have an equation, and
Mhm.
the equation is zero judgment on yourself plus zero judgment on others equals 5 to 8 hertz, which is the energy of love.
Mm.
Ah,
I love it.
nice.
I love
I
it.
love that, Leah. We should make shirts.
Shirts for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like
Isn't it
that.
And
interesting?
you know what, I'm excited to hear, like, because Kate is next, I'm excited to hear about,
Yeah.
because first we had Kit and our parenting myths, which
Yeah.
these are cycles we need to break. And then I'm talking about, going easy on yourself, and I'm excited to
Self.
hear from
Yeah.
Kate how all of this
Yeah.
shows up in our body and we don't know.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shall we?
I
Kit, you
just
wanted to add?
Yeah, I'll just add with the zero formula. But isn't it so interesting that when you have zero judgment of yourself, you also have zero judgment of
Of
others?
others, yeah.
Yeah.
Zero.
Agree.
Eh,
That's
the
Yeah.
baliktad is when
True.
the harder you are on yourself,
The
the
heart,
harder you are
Yes,
on
exactly.
others.
what's that
That's why nga
saying?
it's all about the others, not never about you, diba? If something happens.
parenting, di
What's
ba?
that saying about you don't see life as it is, you see life as how you are.
Yes, you don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you must
Yeah.
be how you are,
Yeah.
because that's what we're really projecting. So just like
Projecting.
with
True.
parenting, di ba? With conscious parenting, we're not raising the child in front of us. We're actually raising our inner child. And the more
Yeah.
we are able to have a healthy relationship with that, the more we will have a healthier relationship. That's what we're going to project to our
Yeah. In
children.
other words, deal with your our issues
Yeah.
before we project it to the other kids,
To ask
man.
a question. Um,
Don't vomit
do
our
Yeah.
you do you ever have moments? I've had them more and more. I know it's been a difficult year. However, I have so much gratitude for the space that COVID has given us.
mm,
And I've really gone so deep this year. I've had the time and space. It's held space for me to go so deep this year that I have moments where I go, "Oh my goodness, that situation. Baka naman it was me the whole time."
Hmm.
yeah.
Right? Baka
Right.
ako yung problema doon, hindi sila.
Right.
'Di ba? But it
Before hindi, 'di ba? Before you're like going to
no,
the next, going to
sila,
the next.
sila or
Yeah.
pareho, 'di ba?
No.
Pareho, it's always gonna be a combination and anyway, but
True.
you know, the more you heal your nervous system, the
Yeah.
more less things trigger you,
Mm,
right? And so I remember one of the workshops that we had with strengths with Kit. It was in a new building and may nagdi-drill, 'di ba? And it was so
Yeah.
wonderful. This gent stood up and told them to shut up, right? And that's usually I'm the one who does that, and so I appreciated so much that somebody else did it,
yeah.
right? And these days, I'm noticing that there's a lot of drilling that goes on in the neighbor's house or dogs barking, things that would have triggered me so much don't
Yeah.
trigger me anymore. Or I'm
True.
aware, but it doesn't trigger me as much. So it really comes back to everything that has been shared today so far. It really feels like it really comes back down to your body.
Yeah.
Go deep,
Yeah.
go into your stomach. And how does that sit with me?
Mm,
Right? What
Mm.
sensations am I getting in my body from these things?
yeah.
And that's the core, that's your truth. So from
True.
passed down parenting ways, the stories we tell ourselves of how it should be, that's not working from the core, that's inheriting from somewhere else that
Yeah.
is being put into our heads, and we're ignoring the body completely. But yet when you heal, you're like, ako ata yung may kasalanan doon. Ako ata yung
That
may
Yup.
the healing there is when you wake up. That's the
Yeah.
and the
uh,
continuous
Yeah.
waking up.
consciousness na parang,
Correct.
oh my gosh, it's
Then
me.
you'll see like, oops, I think
And
I was
and
projecting.
I also want to add that one of the best for me wokeness is realizing that it's not about blame. It's not about kasalanan ko, kasalanan niya. It's
Mm,
all about we mess up. We
That's who I was.
yeah, and that's who I was. And here I am
yeah.
now.
Wake up,
Diba?
you hug yourself right away.
You
It's
hug
okay.
your, yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Ay, baka
Yeah,
it's
True.
me.
so
okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Why
Yeah.
grounding work is so
Okay.
Uh,
important,
I
no? That's why
know.
grounding work is so important. And it would be so lovely to see this next generation, or obviously our generation. They're still like our parents' generation that are also very open to it. Um, Otherwise, when I think of my children and whoever they choose to have as life partners, if they so choose to have life partners, you never know what that other person is going to come with
you're
and
right.
what our
Right.
children come with. And at
Yeah.
some
Right.
point when it cannot work. And these issues are like sleepers, they sleep within your
Yeah.
cells, and suddenly something happens, and this person who you think suddenly changes completely overnight.
Right. Or
Right?
us ourselves can
Yeah.
change overnight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I look forward to those changes.
Yeah.
Like, who am I gonna be
Right.
today?
Correct. You're never too old to change.
Never.
The
And that's the
sleepers, the
exciting
sleepers.
part. Diba?
Yeah.
Right. The
As long as you
evolution.
take out the shoulds and you
Yeah.
know,
You know
yeah.
what?
Oh,
One of the best wedding vows I've ever heard was this lovely couple that we met in Boracay on the beach, and uh, they just turned around and said, "We're gonna get married," and they had absolutely no money, and so four divorcees, four women who were separated, came together and threw them a wedding party.
oh,
Oh,
Okay.
see, you didn't try to stop them at least.
Oh, but love is love.
love is love.
Right?
Oh,
But
I
that was the beauty of it, right?
yeah.
The four women that came together to support it and make it happen, help make it happen for them. But the wedding vows was, I love the person you are today, and I trust the person you will be tomorrow.
Wow.
Mm.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so we'll go to
I
Kate
wanna
Smith's
also
now.
quickly throw in.
Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
wanna quickly throw in because we were talking about like getting married, but also I want to say to all the women out there because a huge part of the people who will see us and listen to us are moms, and maybe there will
Yes.
be a small number that are not moms.
Mm.
Um, let's go easy on women who can't have children or who
Absolutely.
choose not to
Not to.
have children.
Mm.
That is one of the shoulds of our being women, and one of the things that we need to let go of. A
Yeah.
woman is complete. A woman is a woman whether she bears child or not. A woman is still a woman whether she chooses to have children or not. And
Yeah.
we
Right.
need to let those biases go.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, Leah. Thank you for
Okay. And with that, we go to Kate's body myths
Mhm.
or body and mind. So the first one is this one I'm really interested to know more about. Positive thinking, why let it go does not work. So
Oh, beautiful one,
why
no?
doesn't not good advice? Just let it go.
I
Uh,
think
Let it go.
exactly. It's exactly that's why. So, writing down the myths to share and discuss today, I meditated on it and said, well, what are the things that we're hearing and feeling, and let it go is such it's been popular for the last, what, 5 years or so. Just let it go, right? Um, I don't think that it works because it's saying that your feelings aren't valid, right? Something happens and somebody, just let it go.
You're invalidating your feelings.
Yeah,
Is that what you
right.
mean?
Because it's not valid, right? How you feel is
Mm,
not valid, and so what
yeah.
happens to that? Somebody tells you, let it go. Your brain automatically goes to, I want to let that go. But what happens is you're pushing it to some back part of your brain, right? And
Mm,
then it now starts wandering through your body and finds a home
mm,
there. And the same thing of again and again and again throughout your life. These little
mm.
things that would normally
Leave
not
some
make
residue like that.
becomes you've been banking it, right?
Yeah.
You've been
I
letting
get
it
that.
go, but you're letting it go inside. You've been
Because
pushing
you're
it.
not facing it.
And
Mm.
how does one face it, right?
Yeah.
And it
Mm.
again, we come back to, you're looking at it, but this is how I feel. So if you go to your coach, you can talk about it. You can, all right. So you've analyzed it. What do you do with that now? You've got
Mm.
it. You've taken it out. It's in your hand. You see it clearly. You've analyzed it. What do you do with it now? Right?
Mm.
So um, energetically, you can go for a walk and throw it back to the trees, give it back to the universe, say thank you. I have no need for you. But look at
Yeah.
look at that of how you do it. You're going into the trees. You're going for a walk, right? You're going into nature. So there is still movement.
Mm.
Anything that
Yeah.
we try to let go of needs to be moved out. You need to breathe it out, you need
Mm.
to move it out. So it cannot be done just through the mind. It needs to be done
Mm.
through the body.
Process.
That's
Process.
why they say walk it off.
Ah, nice.
Walk
Yeah.
it out, shake it off, right? The
That
gambot, right? My favorite word, gambot.
I
Shake
love
Cambot.
this Cambot.
oh,
because
Cambot rules the world.
we hold in our hands,
Yeah.
yeah.
right? So just
Mm.
gambotin mo lang yan. So if you want a magic pill for today from everything that we have been talking about, you can't afford therapy, you can't afford whatever, just put on some music, moms, bring your kids in,
Yeah.
and just boogie on down. Just
Yeah.
dance
Yeah.
around, shake those hips, and then a few deep breaths, you'll feel so much better. And
Yeah.
that's how you let it go.
Okay. So we're going to
Right.
do ano now? Oh, we're a podcast. I forgot. We're a podcast. We can't dance. So guys,
Ah.
just jiggle. That's nice, Kate. I like that.
Yeah.
So we should just say
Shake it
shake it
off.
off.
Shake it
A la
off,
Taylor Swift. Like that.
No, say it and do it.
shake it
Say it
off,
and
Yeah.
dance
shake
it.
it off.
But they can't see us because we're podcast. In
We're
the
dancing,
yeah,
ladies.
guys are dancing.
You
Okay.
don't see
Right?
it,
It's a
but
it's a great one. It's a
Dance with
great
us. Okay, that's myth number one. Now, myth number two, I think a lot of moms can relate to this about sleep. So,
Oh,
especially now with the pandemic, I think because there's a intersection between work and home and study and home, that naps are for lazy people.
yeah.
So, I'm glad to know that's a myth because I have been napping more because of winter.
It's so rubbish. No, it's so rubbish. Um. So can we look at the word lazy first? You know,
Yeah.
who made lazy into such a bad word,
I know,
right?
right?
Why
That's
is
whole the
lazy
whole
a bad
one
word?
tamad thing. What the heck?
Mamon tamad, right?
Yeah,
True.
Right.
that's what we fear.
yeah.
Right. So if you look at the word lazy, and we bring it into polyvagal theory or your nervous system, right? So you've got your social, you can interact, you can work, and go out do sports, um, and then you've got your ventral, your fight or flight, right? So you're getting ready to fight, you're getting ready to flee, you're getting all that energy moving, right? And then you've got your freeze, which is this, I can't move. So I want to bring this back. So Janice, help me reel this back later on, okay, to lazy, because I want to go and shoot over to where Kit was earlier. um
Sure.
and uh so we go to freeze. There's so much I want to say with this, please bear with me, yeah. There's so much I want to say. So when you have children who are unable to move because they're children, right?
Yeah.
Their parents are getting mad
Yeah.
at them. They're just surrounded by, they should be this, they should be that. And they're
Yeah.
stuck on freeze. They cannot leave home. They cannot feed themselves. They cannot work. They just have to abide. So
Mm.
they get stuck in this freeze. What does that look like in their body? So when they grow up, they grow older, they find their way, and suddenly there are just those days where you're just floored, right? It's a lot of that
Yeah.
childhood stuff that you bring with you. It takes an awfully long time to process. Now, let's go to screen time,
Mm.
right? Because we've
Yeah.
been stuck indoors for a year. So the things that we watch and the things that are happening in real life, our nervous system doesn't know the difference. So you're watching something violent before bed. it
Right.
thinks that that's actually happening. You've got, I love watching, murder mysteries. And I just go, no murder mysteries at night. After nightfall, no murder mysteries, right? Because in my sleep, my head's like, oh, who done it? So
Yeah.
for children, it takes 12 hours to process from last thing they watch. 12
Oh,
hours. That takes an awfully long time. So, they're bouncing between this freeze and this fight and flight, right? It's
yeah.
it's just what a mess, right? So now we go to what Leah was saying of uh how we should be, the stories that we're supposed to portray.
Yeah.
So what's that doing to our nervous system?
Mhm.
Right? So it takes an awfully long time to unravel all of those. Remember when we were children, if we were lucky, we got to go to the province, and during the monsoon season, we just watch the rain fall, and I'm bored.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
time that
Right.
I'm bored, that I'm bored part, that's where the
Yeah.
magic
The
happens.
tulala. I call that the tulala.
That's where the magic happens. That's where your nervous system fixes itself.
Yes.
Right? Because you'll start moving, you'll start picking flowers, you'll start walking around.
Mm.
Anything that you can do, maybe pick up an instrument, start playing an instrument. So that goes into a deeper healing through music therapy, through art therapy. Boredom brings out creativity, which allows your nervous system
True.
to heal. Yeah. So this laziness, this napping, this
Yeah.
sleeping, why it's important is you allow everything to just settle down.
Yes.
And
Right.
this is why napping is so crucial.
Mhm.
Take your
Yes.
naps, moms.
Could you repeat that piece again? Napping is
Napping is
so
Napping
crucial.
is crucial.
Minutes
really
lang, di
crucial,
ba?
right? Don't have any guilt. I'm so blessed that have always been a napper, which meant I could never take a 9 to 5. Every
Your
time I get
siesta
up
is
at 5, every
precious.
time, they're like, si Miss Kate, masyadong social, nagnanap.
How different is what's the like time difference between when it's not a nap anymore, it's already sleep.
Yeah, we had that conversation. What is a
21
nap?
minutes, diba? Power
21.
nap is
Is it?
21
Is
minutes.
it? I don't actually know what the. I think from anywhere from 2 hours to 10 minutes to 2 hours. I
They
think
say
is a
power nap is
Janice
21
said,
minutes.
yeah, Janice said 21. And so because I am
Yeah.
a newbie at napping and I have this crazy schedule lately with online classes. I'm like last weekend, I'm like, okay, 21 minutes, 21 minutes. I'm like, what if it's only 15? What if
Are you
it's
always
30?
been, so you're
My naps
conscious
are 3 hours.
you're consciously catnapping is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
And my
like
grandmother
I
used to
said,
do that.
recovering control freak. So
Yeah.
part of that process was like,
That's a big
Leah,
thing for you,
just
Leah.
nap,
Napping is
just nap. Yeah.
My
And then you
grandmother
know what?
was able to do it. She would like we'd go. So this is in England. We'd go in and have a meal. We'd go to the mall, and then top level of the mall would have a little coffee shop, and she just lean back and close her eyes, and within 5 minutes
Sarap.
back, I'd have my
Wow.
coffee and my tea, and then she'd be back. I was like, "Were you sleeping?" She goes, "I was napping, darling."
I love it.
Catnap.
Right?
Catnapping. So you know what was happening to me in the beginning was like, okay, 21 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, 5 minutes.
So,
10 minutes.
but
You set the alarm.
what you're doing actually, Di Balea, is not really napping because you're so aware
I
of the time.
know.
Yeah, you set
So
something.
that and then eventually I was like, just rest. So it's a process, right? Because
So
I'm a
when you're
Yeah.
recovering control.
Yes.
let's
Yes.
emulate it. Let's emulate it for our listeners, right? Let's emulate it. Is that okay, Janice? Can we emulate it for a few minutes?
Sure,
Right?
what do we do?
So, I mean, for a quick cat nap, right? What it is you are actually purposefully regulating your nervous system as much as you can. You're filling up your glass within those 5 minutes intentionally, right?
Okay.
So,
Mm.
the our elders who would do it would just close their eyes, lean back, and just
Yeah.
try to sync their bodies. We've seen this with our lolas, right? Now, try to change this up and add on your breathing techniques.
Mm. Yeah.
So
Just
the
try
5 minutes
to,
with the breath work.
Yeah.
yes.
Wait,
So
so it's longer exhales, right?
start off for our listeners, start off with inhale 4 or inhale 3 kung ano yung madali. Hold for 1 second or 2 seconds and then exhale for 3.
Hey,
Okay.
Right?
teacher,
Just
teacher,
because
teacher, I have a question. No, serious, serious. Okay, breath work, right?
okay,
um, so I there are learnings that say breathe through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Check. And then naman, I get learnings that are breathe through your
Mm-hmm.
nose, exhale through your
Exhale.
nose. And again, because
Nose.
I'm a control
Yeah.
freak,
okay.
recovering person, I'm so stuck on the instructions. Breathe through my nose, then exhale through my nose, or breathe through my nose, exhale through my mouth.
Okay. So for this purpose, we are inhaling and exhaling through our nose because remember, nose is made for breathing, mouth is made for kissing.
Eating. And
Ay,
okay.
iba naman eh.
So inhale
Talking.
and exhale through your nose, right?
Inhale,
Um,
exhale through your nose.
through your
Okay.
nose. That is how we are
Okay.
supposed to breathe. Now,
Mm.
um, we will have many more breathing classes with Mommy Mundo. We will
Right.
we
Yes.
that's coming soon. Um, but for now, in regards to catnapping, just lean back, close your eyes. If you can
Okay.
get a cold towel, a cool towel, and just place basang bimpo kung meron kang essential oils, maglagay ka ng isang patak ng lavender and just put it over your
Oh,
eyes. And
wow,
just
sarap.
Mm.
inhale 3 or 4 kung ano yung madali, hold for 1 or 2 kung ano yung madali, exhale to 3 or 4 kung madali. Now, kung may sipon, edi no choice, talagang bibig,
Oh
right?
God, it happened to me last week in my mindfulness class.
Oh,
Oh, it's so hard. So
Right? That's
hard.
why,
yeah.
right? So
Okay, so normally nose dapat. You should
Nose,
use
nose
nose.
both, nose
now,
both.
just a side note, Leah, just
Mm.
to satisfy you,
Yeah, yeah.
in pranayama,
Mm.
and kriyas, okay, for Kundalini yoga, we're gonna go deeper.
Mm.
What happens with the breath is, parang ano lang yan, parang pantry lang yan, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Nagbukas ka, magbe-bake ka, magluluto ka.
Maraming
Anong
options.
ingredients ang kailangan mo?
Mm.
Okay, so
Okay.
depending on what is happening to you right now that you need, there is a breath or a combination of breaths that we can put together to give you what you want.
Okay,
This is
so
the magic pen.
when do I get it with the nap already? I'm gonna print that in my brain. When is the breathing, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth? What is that for? Like just on a quickie.
There are many versions of it
Yeah.
depending on what you need. So there's left brain, right brain. One is more relaxing, one is more awakening,
Mm.
stimulating. um, uh, Through the mouth would be a lot more of release if you had a lot of tension.
Ah.
Nose
Okay.
would be
Okay.
a
More
cleaner
relaxing.
quality of oxygen. This can,
Oh,
like I said, it can go on, and we will go on because I know that so many of our listeners and even
yeah.
amongst us, we are very curious. So we'll be doing that
Should
with
do another session on that one. Okay, but again, guys, naps are essential. Okay.
Naps are
essential.
Let's
essential.
and before
Intentional naps are
yes. And
essential.
so we come to Kate's third and last myth and our last myth for this episode. Kate, sex is
Yes.
more important for the husband.
Oh, absolute rubbish.
That's a myth.
That is not for me. Let's talk about sex, baby. Okay, ladies. So, we were talking before we started recording this. We were talking about, have you ever looked at your privates?
We
Have
didn't
you
talk
ever
about
gone
that.
and
Just
gotta go
we
there if you want to talk
we
about sex?
what? We never
what? Kate, who were you talking to? My golly.
We gotta talk about that if we're gonna talk about
Yes.
sex, right? So let's put it this way. Have a look at your hand. When you put lotion on your hands, you know what your hands look like and you know what feels good, right? So if you don't look at your body parts, how will you know what feels good? So if you've never opened that possibility in your mind, in your heart, because of upbringing,
Conditioning.
possibly
Yeah.
because of church,
Mm.
um, whatever shame there is that comes with that, then that door will never be open.
Mm.
And so we take union, the sacred union of partners, right? Gender friendly, gender dynamic. Yeah. Uh, so partners to come together. How are you supposed to partake in that when you don't know anything about yourself? So what happens is, if if we have a husband and wife that come together, um, and husband knows how to satisfy, but wife is just a vessel for that man's satisfaction.
Mm.
How is that more important? What are we, chopped liver?
Mm.
Right?
Also, I wanna add, Kate,
Yeah.
that sex kasi isn't just sex. It's lalo na when you are partners. It's affirmation. And what
Mm.
happens when you
Oh,
are not getting affirmation? Because in your head, you're still stuck with the stupid belief that sex is dirty. When you grow up all your life thinking sex is dirty, it does not go away the minute you
Hang
get
on.
married.
Is it that? What's the problem with women who don't want to have sex because sex is dirty?
Because we're brought up to believe
it's
that sex
No,
is
no, no, but
dirty.
but maybe let's bring it back to moms, no?
Yeah,
So
moms.
moms usually it's because we're tired and we are not not me,
so.
ha? I'm just saying we as moms are tired.
So okay. Do you
Defensive.
remember? Do you remember? Do you remember Sex in the City when they talk about how often do you have sex? And Carrie goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, we don't do it all the time, but when we do, we go big."
Kasi Mr. Big siya eh.
Right,
Let's ano na
Mr. Big
lang,
and
let's
Big.
qualify the myth. Let's qualify the myth. So if you say sex is more important for the husband, it's
Not true.
because
It's
yeah, and that's not true. Well, we're coming from the reality that, 'di ba women say, um, kailangan niya, parang it's the guy who's asking for it all the time, or it's more like a chore for women. Well, that's the
yeah, it's
impression
like
I
you're
got.
holding space for him to masturbate on you.
So
Yeah.
am I getting this,
Yeah.
Kate? Am I getting this right?
Mm,
What I'm getting from what Kate is saying, the myth is
mm.
that the guy needs it more.
Yes.
I believe the truth is we need it just as much, but we need to allow ourselves to believe
It
that it
hasn't been
is
switched on.
that it is
Yeah.
something that we need. It's not dirty.
Yes.
And
Yeah, and
how
not
do
only
you
not
know that?
dirty, it's that we have to make
Necessary.
time and energy for it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's also important for ourselves.
Yeah.
'Di ba?
But
It's not me.
Janice, you know,
I don't know anyone who thinks that it's dirty. Honestly,
No,
that's
you
for
know
me. Ha,
what?
for
It's
me.
it's
okay, so
not brought
No, but
up. It's not.
no, but
But
I know there are some who
okay,
think that.
let's shelve the
So
the
let's
dirty.
yeah, yeah.
cover
Sige.
Let's shelve the
all the
dirty.
myths.
Let's
Yeah.
just talk. Let's move on and talk
The
about
need.
how do you know. And
Yeah.
this is okay. I mean, let's just go all out here, ladies. All right. When you
Mm,
talk to moms about orgasms,
mm.
Mm.
the numbers are so low.
Oh, yeah.
The
Of them
numbers,
having
especially
orgasm.
in the Philippines, are so low. They have never
Oh,
orgasm. They don't know what it is. Right? To
okay.
them, they are just like I said, a vessel for husband to satisfy, to be satisfied. It is
Mm.
so sad. Right? This is actually one of my favorite
Yeah.
topics that whenever I'm in a circle of women, right? Especially with uh, provincial women. I love probing this question and I love that they share and this is what I've heard. And why
Mm.
is that? Because they are told don't touch, don't do, don't as children. So
Mm.
the lid is closed from there, right? That topic is closed. So
Yeah.
let's help open that up. So once that's open, we go back to the myth of the men need it more, or is it more important for the men? Absolutely not, because when there is
Yeah.
unity, when there is union, you will have more energy, Janice. Like what you were saying, you're too tired, the mom's too tired. You will have more energy. There will be more love. There will be more synergy within the marriage, within the home. It is a happier home.
Yeah.
It's sacred union.
Yeah.
Right.
So more that we
So
can
I
talk.
I guess with for those who like what Leah said that they think it's dirty or maybe they think it's something to be ashamed of. That's
Mm.
also possible, no? Something to be
I think
ashamed
Yes.
that's still, it still
or that
stems from very
they it's not
patriarchal way of thinking, no?
yeah or some it's something that's not important. That's why they won't make time for it or put effort into it.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
qualified.
they just have to shift also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Qualified also the more. I mean, maybe the frequency, diba? Parang it's not in
Mm,
number of times, but the quality,
Exactly,
quality
exactly.
of
mm,
that experience
experience.
together.
I love that you said
Right.
that, kid. And I mean, like
True.
people who have date night, right? I never really understood date night. I never understood date night. Maybe have a night where you can talk about issues,
Mm.
talk about accounting, talk
Mhm.
about whatever that needs to be talked about, right? You can set a date
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
But I think, for lovemaking and sexy time and togetherness, if you really can't during your life, then create a holiday for it, right? Create pockets
Mm-mm.
for it. And you can do that within your home,
Oh yeah, I believe that too.
Mm.
Like set
right?
the mood and all that.
And and how do you go into this when let's take a regular Filipino couple who have not really branched into this union, and they're curious of how to step into this now, right? And this is where self exploration is highly encouraged, right? And from there,
Mm.
know what feels good and be able to share with husband what feels good,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So the art
Right.
of touch, I love the art of touch towards children, towards your family, towards what more to your love, your partner.
Which goes,
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
yeah, which is so related to the myth of Leah. Vulnerability is weakness.
Yes.
Also,
Yes, Kit. And I wanna also add to what
yeah.
Kate and Kit were saying, that we need to step up and believe, one, accept that yes, we do need it, and we need
Yeah.
it in a way that
Want it.
pleasures us. So it's not just about my husband is stressed, so I lie there and think about Netflix
No,
and let him do his thing. No, you deserve the pleasure.
Yeah.
This is
and
not
True.
this
once
is
you've
not a
discovered that
chore.
pleasure,
And making love really does deepen a relationship
Yeah.
in ways that, well, we can't explain. So it's not a chore. And so, like,
True.
when Kate is saying now, get to know your body, and when Kit is saying it's not about the frequency, it's not about in the
Yeah.
morning, because mornings your husband is so then you just turn there and like give you, no, it's not that.
Yeah.
let me give you a
Yeah.
tip
Agree,
also.
agree.
I love what you're saying, Leah, and let's can I grow from there, and
Mm.
literally.
Ah,
So perhaps the evening before, the night before, um do something nice, just do something
mm,
sweet and loving for each other,
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
so
Yeah.
it sets the tone. It's tuck them in, give them a little head massage,
Yeah,
right? Just hold hands, cuddle.
right.
Yeah.
It sets the tone so nicely that when the morning comes,
Yeah.
that
So
Yeah, you
we're
set
talking
it up.
about the husbands. You're talking about the husbands, you mean?
No, I mean both.
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 She's
Okay,
she's
yeah. So I
talking
wanted
of.
to say that for the guys, I guess for the daddies, also set the tone. Like sometimes kasi 'di ba parang pagdating
Maghihintay
niya
ka
from
talaga
work,
na
ano
i-chat
ba yung
nila.
dinner? Ano ba yung dinner? Nasa yung damit ko? Whatever. Tapos
Yeah.
biglang,
Yes.
and then you,
Yes.
that's why it's
Yes.
hard also, di ba?
Yeah.
You
That's what
know,
Kit was saying
well,
na
if
the
we wait, then
vulnerability.
nothing will happen.
Yeah.
I think pag maghihintayan kayo, walang mangyayari.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Di
So
ba?
There's
the vulner,
vulnerability
yes,
about it.
Di ba?
Yes.
is being
There's like
able to say
casual.
parang
I
Yeah.
love it, Leah. I love it, Kit. I love it, Janice.
I love how we connected everything. And by the way, the solution for the energy and the energy to have sex with your husband is to take naps. Oh, di ba? Okay, di ba?
Absolutely essential after all. And then something to look forward to. If you join our breathing class, we will teach you how to breathe during, before, during, and
oh,
after.
Bakit naging we? Ikaw lang ha?
Wait, kasi nandun kayo, di ba?
sama ako dyan. Sama tayo dyan,
Nandun
holding
kayo.
we,
hands.
we
The
will teach
before,
you.
during, and after. How to level up your lovemaking.
Eee.
Pranayama.
The next sequel. Baka maraming makinig sa atin the next time because of the topic.
Remember, happy
Okay.
mommy and daddy, happy kids, happy family.
Correct.
The parents, your energy that you
Yeah.
Yes.
have your children.
That's right. Okay, so with that, we busted so many important myths. Really, like guys, if we just shifted our minds and realized that what we've been keeping in our minds and practicing are actually myths, we're going to have more better relationships with our kids, better relationships with ourselves, and better relationships with our better and our bodies too.
Time.
So thank you, my Fab Four sisters,
You
my
then.
Fab Four
Thank
mamas, for
you.
another You the Mom podcast guesting. We'll see you again next month. And we'll let you know what we're going to talk about. But we hope that you enjoyed our episode today on You the Mom. So to wrap up our episode, remember that mom life is something to be celebrated and cherished, and we believe mom should be celebrated and cherished too. So, from us to you, we say,
You
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 the
You the mom.
mom!